What is going on, YouTube? This is The Last Musketeer, and welcome to part 3 of the CounterSide free-to-play Is It Worth It series. So I know it's been quite a bit since I did the last video, and the main reason being, recently we had a tornado come through, and I live in a part of the US where quite often we get tornadoes, but they don't often touch down into major areas, and this time one of them did, and because of that I've had very little internet usage. I could get on for a bit of time, and then every like 5 minutes the last couple days it's just been DCing me for, even though it's just like 15 seconds at a time, it still just cuts me out of the game and I have to re-log in, and it's just been a nightmare to deal with. So between all my games that I'm currently juggling right now, it's just been really hard to keep up with this, but you know, I've got a decent amount of content here to show you, and hopefully I can get a bit of a point across with these. But we made actually a decent amount of progress in this one, and as you can see right here, I have finally S-ranked the last stage of the anti-air battle, so that is going to give me a decent amount of growth materials per day to use towards leveling up and actually start leveling up my characters now. So there are a lot of good improvements that I have made in this one, namely because of how far I can actually push into the story and into the levels now, because for the longest time I was actually struggling in trying to get the 3-star on most missions. The one where you just have to beat them, as the anti-air one was, is fantastic, but normally it was a little too hard for me to do. Ministra has carried me up until this point since I got her last week, I believe, maybe the first week, and it's been absolute smooth sailing since then. I am building the rest of the roster up, just making them that much stronger. But a main focus this week actually on the guide missions, because I had neglected them a bit in the last one, and I realized just how beneficial they are overall. And this is a quick showing of what my PvP team looked like at the start of it. It will change probably drastically by the end of this. I still don't have a great setup, but I do have a decent one. I'm trying to do some more pulls on the awakened units as well, so every time it's off cooldown, I go ahead and buy those, because even if you're not going to pull on the current banner, you can at least save them up to try to get any of the other ones as time moves forward. On this one, unfortunately, I did not get Jake Walker. I do really want him, but I'm going to have to wait at this point for him to come back into rotation at some point, or find another way to do it. Maybe we'll get an Awakened Selector ticket at some point, which would be really nice, but I used all my pulls that I currently had, so I went right back to building up. And also the regular missions, the guide missions, do offer them when you fully complete some of them as well, so that's going to be really nice for that. But I do the daily free pull, and I get another SSR unit, and ironically, I pull Young Harum. And the thing about it is, when her banner was up last week, I pulled every single pull that I had currently saved up for her. It was like 70 something pulls, did not get her. Once she goes off banner, I get her out of the regular crew and the free one per day, so that's going to be a huge upgrade for me. She's one of the best supports in the game, as I've been told, and she is actually been really nice that I've used her so far. I made sure to try to take her up as soon as possible, and one of the good things about this game is that they do give you plenty of options, at least early on, to get the units that you need for the evolution, the limit break. So these APT cubes, you can run your daily missions for the growth, the anti-air ones offer those, and then you also have options where if you're completing some of the daily missions, the weekly missions as well, you're going to get some more of the coupons to turn in for whichever APT cubes you actually want. So a fantastic way to actually do it, and as you can see here, I actually get level 90 clear on the defense training one as well, so I believe for all three of them now, I am going to have the final stage. It's going to help me a lot in terms of whatever I'm gearing for, because you get 2 of the free tickets per day. You can buy more if you need, but not really necessary. And another great thing about the growth missions there is that they offer a lot of the coupons, so you can use for extra early on. I suggest anyone that is starting out who hasn't done these, whatever it may be, do these as much as possible, because they offer so many great things. And it's honestly a really good job of leading a new player into what they actually need to go for, because when you're getting these, whether it be new codes that they put in where they give really good rewards from the codes, I will say, being one of the Ministra, the Awakened unit that I got the first week, but they also give SSR coupons. They give you plenty of things like fusion cores. They'll give you recruitment vouchers, more growth supplies, and also training supplies, you name it. They've got everything you need here to get a really fast start to whatever character that you're planning on leveling up. So you're going to be able to get multiple ones up pretty quickly with this. And for this 10 pull, I didn't necessarily want to pull on this banner in specifics, but I did a 10 pull because it was required for the growth mission. Now, one thing I will note is that one of the SRs that I pulled there is actually a really strong one that's very good for a lot of different situations. So I haven't quite been able to work her up until the end of this video, basically, but I will talk about her a little bit later. But this is a quick showing of some of the gear that you are offered in the growth missions that are going to be really nice for me early on, because it's really hard to get the right rolls, the right drops from your regular campaign missions. That's all RNG based. And with these, they come with basically a set one, a locked one, as you can see, the purple one, the anti-ground damage resistance, and then the other one will be random, and you could roll something really nice, but these are also put in as haste gear, which makes it to where you have lower skill cooldown, which is an absolutely fantastic option for basically most of your units. Any support units, any healers, something that is very cooldown dependent, it's going to be amazing for them. And then you can try to stack haste if you get to it for that point. Again, to make it a little bit easier on your squad early on, and going to make you have that power spike so you can get closer to in-game earlier. But one thing I did want to show is this fight is really nice. The first one that I've actually experienced come in different rounds. So you'll fight this first boss, it'll go into round 2, fight the next boss, and then round 3, and you'll fight the last boss, and that is how you complete this one. And realistically, with the lineup that I had, it was actually pretty easy. I completed on the first try and got all 3 stars. One thing that I am noticing is that going into some of the hard missions, the hard levels, I'm starting to get back to where I'm not able to 3-star it. Sometimes it's just very hard without the right lineup and the right gear pieces to actually complete some of these levels with 3 stars. So very rough to say the least, but it's not too bad overall. I think they do a good job, like I said before, of actually giving you the gear pieces that you need, regardless of trying to do the RNG through your stages. So that has helped me wrap up quickly, and ever since adding a lot of the stuff that I got through the guide missions, I've actually progressed pretty decently far. I'm trying not to go too far into the regular campaign yet, though I believe they just released chapter 9 and I'm on 6, somewhere like halfway through 6, I think. So like I said, I'm decently far, but I'm trying to focus on some of these side events, because the ones that are in the regular side event tab, I'm able to go in and actually farm some of the characters, some of them being SSR units, some of them being SR units, but a lot of them are very useful. And so pulling them into the squad is going to be a nice upgrade there, and then I can farm out the regular campaign stages later once I have a decent lineup set up. There's a lot of different things that I was trying though throughout this video, whether it be raids, arena, which I put a lot of time into arena, not real-time arena yet, because I try to stay away from those as much as possible in a lot of gachas, but I will of course go into that and talk about it a little bit for the video's sake. I've just never really been a fan of real-time arena. There's always too much going on, and half the time if you want to get really high in it, you're gonna have to whale. So as a free-to-play, it's hard to get into those, but I did unlock the rearm system, and this is what Elizabeth Pendragon will look like after. It changes her skills a little bit, I believe, and it's going to be a really cool thing to try out. So hopefully by the end of the series I can at least show off that, and people can get a good look of what that is like. But speaking of guide missions, I'm showing you what I've done so far, and for some reason I didn't record the actual finish of the master plan of it, which is the 3rd section, but I did get that, and it gave me 220 of the summons that you use for the awakened unit. So really nice payout there. And I'm a little bit of ways into the limited plan, and of course for the other ones at the bottom, I've done a decent amount of those. But another new thing that I haven't really been able to check out yet is the palace runs. So probably not too hard to do, but I haven't, like I said, tried them. They are level 100. And the rewards you get, I guess, are based on the timing that you can actually finish it at. So I'll have to try that in the next week once I have a good lineup set up, so I can go forward with that. But I did get Casey Benz, a defender, from one of the SSR tickets from the guide missions. I don't know how good she is, but she seemed pretty decent, so I decided I wanted to level her up. Anyway, I do like the style of it, and with the way she looks, I feel like she could be pretty decent as a tank in PvP. We shall see. I'll try to experiment with her a little more, throw some HP gear on her. Once again, got these from the guide missions. I'll say it many times until you just absolutely no longer want to hear it. I get it. It's just, I gotta drive the point home for these videos to make sure that people know. So eventually the guide missions in the Gauntlet plan, which is the one based on PvP, did bring me in to spend 2,000 of the tokens. So what I had been doing is buying these different pieces that you get from the gear, which are all T6 gear that you can, even if you get bad options, re-roll in a crafting section of your main unit. So I'll have to show that off later. Maybe in the finale I can show a little bit more once I have a decent amount of stuff saved up for it, and show off the crafting, whatever it may be. But I'm spending as many of the cores as I can, 2,000 of them to be exact, to try to unlock that next mission. And I did, and I think that might have been where either my video messed up, or I don't know exactly what was going on with CounterSide, what was wrong with my OBS, but some of the videos were actually just frozen. So there is some stuff I had to throw out, and I do apologize, but that's probably one of the main reasons that I didn't get to show the finishing of the master plan, to show what I all got at the end of it. But this fight was actually one of the challenge modes, I believe it's called, and it gave me 2 pieces of T6 gear, which is actually fantastic. Really not hard to get into, but then we switch into some of the new events and the new characters. This is when they swap some of the banners, and the new Awakened unit out here is Gargantua Maria Antonov, and I believe this is like a younger version or something of a character that's already in the game named Maria Antonov, who is an actual very good character that I got just a little bit later, actually right here, I should say, so it's actually good timing for when I show it off. And since I did have a little bit of pulls, I decided I might as well go for her. I don't know exactly what she does, because I didn't look at her character, but I decided, you know what, I might as well go for it. And what do you know, I actually end up pulling an Awakened unit. Now, I didn't know exactly what it was going to be going into this. Obviously, I knew that there are other Awakened units in the pool, or I believe there are, and so I could have gotten just something random, but luckily enough, I did pull the new unit. So I actually got to playtest her a lot during this, and she is absolutely fantastic. She has a really, really cool kit in which, when she spawned in, she opens a portal that leads from the ship to the midway point of the map. So if you throw her down first, you can then throw a tank to immediately jump straight to the middle of the map from the backline, which is a really, really cool mechanic. And she also hits like a truck, so I made sure to put a lot into her. And so now, after investment, she is my strongest hero. Now, another good thing that I like about the rotation of the Awakened units is these little contract missions. These give some really nice rewards, also give gear that'll be useful for the current champion that's on there. But switching over to some of the farming missions, I actually got really lucky once again and pulled an Orca from that with a really, really low drop chance. So now I have Orca, who is apparently really, really good, and once she becomes rearmed, she'll be even better. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I don't know if she'll be my first rearm or not, but potentially, because of the use that she's going to have overall. But this is what my new team looks like in raid. If you remember last video, I did like 0.01% or 0.03%, something like that, to the raid boss. This time, I did 1,000,000 damage and did almost 29% of the boss's health. That is a big change in a week, considering the wall is very, very hard to actually deal with if you do not have proper ways of dealing with it. It just blocks damage for so long. But as you can see, Maria Antonov did 549k of that. She was only deployed for about 26 seconds longer than Ministra, who did not even half. So that is a big show of what she's capable of. Now, Ministra is more of an AoE type, so she's not necessarily going to do as much single target damage, but she does good overall. So I am very excited about the 2 Waken units that I have, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting more, maybe getting lucky in some of the next pulls like I did on this one. We shall see as time goes on. But as I was looking through here, I wanted to show the scout feature. So this is the first one I've actually been able to get. And so once I duped this Orca, I did get the regular one as a drop from the stage already, so I can use this one in the other one in the dupe system to get a little bit of extra stats. Maybe it's a damage amp or something. Regardless, it'll be really good, and the ultimate goal obviously is to get a full 6 dupe there. But as you can see from this, I am at the very end of the Gargantua Maria Antonov contract mission. So all I have to do now to finish them completely is to sign a lifetime contract with Maria Antonov. So what you do is you have to get to 100% loyalty, and then from there you sign the lifetime contract if you have one available. It gives 2% increase to stats, which is nice. 2% doesn't seem like a lot, but it helps overall. Plus it gives you some voice lines apparently, which is really cool. Obviously, I'm very down for that, but it also gives us a little bit of cutscene where it is showing you just a little one-on-one with her when she's talking about devoting her, basically her life to you, which is really cool. I do like this feature. Having a little bit of an added story into anything is always good. I'm all for story. I try to do as much as I can when it comes to reading. It's important for the sake of the free-to-play Is It Worth This series, but I always, just in general, love to read and figure out, because a lot of games, when it comes to it, when they start out, generally they have less funding, and so you'll notice an incline into whether the story is doing well based on just how good the game is going overall. So if the game is not getting as much funding as it goes on, you'll see it start to decline, or maybe something will be different. It's a good way of monitoring just how well a game is doing and how much effort they're putting into it, and so I always love to read things like this. But with this done, I can go back and claim that trophy, and I don't exactly know where to use it. I figured it was maybe something to do with the lobby, maybe the background, something like that. It's just something to show off, but I don't exactly know what to do with it. So if somebody does have these and can tell me what I'm supposed to do here, that would be fantastic, because I looked around for a little bit trying to figure it out, and I just couldn't quite get it. But we are at the end of the video, so as always, I'm going to show you what my current roster looks like and what I've got going on. I'm going to go ahead and bump up Maria Antonov to the next one just to show you what the fusion looks like and take her to max level 104. And as you can see, when I actually level up these last 2 levels, it uses a lot of mats and also costs 350k as an upgrade, which is a lot, but in the overall aspect of it, not too bad. I have 15 million that I'm currently sitting on, and really it doesn't take too much gold unless you're trying to take up new units, or you're taking something up all the way to 100. That can be a little expensive, maybe 4 mil, maybe 5 mil, depending on how long it takes, but this is basically the main lineup that I use for most things. Like I said, I haven't really structured out a great lineup for things. I just kind of throw in some really strong units right now, and it just tends to work. And I didn't realize at the time that I hadn't actually leveled up Lynn. It's very important that I go ahead and try to take her to max so that I can get the cooldown reduction and the extra resource gain that comes with her skills, because that's why she is so good. She can help your units all come out a little bit faster because she's giving you extra deployment points, which is fantastic. Always a great option and a great lineup because it is an SR operator, something that's fairly easy to get. You're going to have plenty of chances to get her. I think she might also be farmable. I don't know what stage it would be in particular, but a lot of the SRs seem to be farmable. So this game does offer a ton of ways for you to build a strong lineup, but as you can see, I don't have a lot of good gear on people, and that's one thing that I'm falling behind on, though I think for the most part with the ones that I've got from the growth mission, I have a decent amount set up for what I usually use as my healers, my extra support units. So we're doing pretty decently there, and I just throw some random stuff on there. I let it auto-equip for me here, just because I'm not too worried about what's on her, as long as she can survive for the moment, because I don't have full sets for the most part. But Young Harem is another one. The old version of Maria Antonov is also a fantastic unit who gives a lot of attack buffs and some HP buffs, as well as some crit damage added to the buff at level 5, which is a really strong buffing unit that I'm going to use a lot, probably a lot in raids as well, because I haven't really figured out exactly what that class type is good for overall, because they're kind of complacent. I don't think they actually walk when they're deployed, so you kind of put them in a good spot and just let them sit there and do their thing. Kim Sobin, I was talking about earlier, she's insanely good for damage as an SR unit. She's very easy to get, and also had a duplicate, for some reason, leveled up. I don't know if I accidentally did that when I wasn't paying attention, or accidentally switched and just leveled up when I was trying to level this one up, but I take her up to 90 real quick, just to get her a little bit stronger. I'm going to throw a little bit of gear on her, but I notice a lot of the units that I'm currently using all require the red APTs, so I'm having a bit of a hard time struggling for that. It all depends on, I guess, if one's a mech unit, something like that, it changes what they're leveled up with. But Orca, another one that is going to be fantastic later on, that I also need to level up all the way. The riflemen are leveled all the way up, but I haven't used them as much lately because I haven't needed them in my squad technically for most of what I'm doing, but they are a fantastic option as well. And as you can see, I've got a decent amount of units and a decent amount of dupes, and I've been saving up quite a bit, but as you can see, I don't have anything really right now for 1200 of the spending currency, because I just put a lot in, and I didn't put it into this video, but I'll put it into the next one, of a certain operator that I was going for who was fantastic for raids. But I am going to go ahead and end the video there. I appreciate you all for watching. If you have comments, something you would like me to change in these, feel free to ask. I need to know exactly what people want to see in these, but I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.